All right, it is time once again to spin the wheel of problematic. I believe it's my turn, so I'll give this thing a hefty little spin. Here we go, and... All right, what's problematic this week? It is Florida. All right.
Prophecy foretells of a podcast so stunning, so brave, that it could only ever go by one name. A show so woke that it became its own gender. A show so hot that we'll understand if it turns you gay. You're listening to Stunning and Brave with Chris Cowan and Nate Henderson.
Hey, welcome once again to another edition of Stunning and Brave. As always, I am Chris, and with me...
I'm Nate. I never know what level of intro you're going to do, so I'm Nate. Yes, hello.
You're expecting some kind of... Like, that intro wasn't good enough for you?
So you know what? Sometimes you just prattle on, just giving me a little lead in there, and I just never know. I just never know.
Well, I was trying to keep it succinct and just to the point and give you the opportunity, and you failed. You really biffed it.
I did. I'm so sorry.
There's just nothing, because you know what our listeners love is just awkward silences. That's just what they love. So thank you.
You should go back in and edit that out.
Thank you for that. You know my rule.
Yeah,
I know my rule. Everything live, like Bill O'Reilly. Everything live.
Maximum output for minimum effort.
I refuse to ever do any post-production editing on this show, and it shows. But
well, sure, yeah,
they're not paying us to be super polished and professional.
That's right,
because they're not paying us.
You get what you didn't pay for.
Right, you get what you pay for. Also, would be the converse of that statement. How's it going, Nate? How's it going?
Can't complain. Can't complain. I know you've been abroad.
Yeah, sex change wasn't really my thing, and so I changed from being abroad and back to being a man.
To being you. Welcome back.
Yeah, so thank you. Thanks.
Welcome back. Well, it's a good show to share all these things on, because if there's one thing that we are here, it's welcoming, understanding. We're
very inclusive.
We're stunning and brave. So welcome back.
Yeah, we are the wokest show on the internet. We actually personally checked every other show on the internet to confirm they were not woke enough. They did not meet the woke quota. We do. We meet that quota by actually a landslide. So if you're looking for the wokest show, we are it. You're welcome. Basically.
Yep.
That's what I
very high standards.
Very high standards of woke. So I did. I don't think it counts as going abroad if you go to Florida, unless you are not from the continental United States. Isn't abroad?
Oh, sorry. Did I use the improper word there?
Well, yeah. I feel like you're to go abroad. You have to doesn't that mean you have to traverse some kind of ocean?
I suppose. Look, I barely ever get out of California, so to me, somebody going to Florida, that's considered going abroad.
If I go to Idaho, you're like, ooh, you went abroad.
You went
abroad
over there in
Idaho. Fancy. With the potatoes.
Way to make the 3-state jump, you worldly traveler.
Ooh, I see you are well-traveled, sir. I tip my cap to you.
All right, look, depending on where you land in Florida, it could very well seem like a different world. So there you go.
You might as well just be like, ooh, Reno. You went to Reno, did you? Fancy.
Oh, I see you like to go abroad for gambling.
Yes, you went abroad across Lake Tahoe, I guess. Yeah, around it.
They should have filmed. They should have filmed Casino Royale in Reno. He just goes from L.A. to Reno. How exotic!
Just this dumb little gambling town
Just
with
this
cheap hotels.
Just this third-rate poker tournament.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hey, I gotta say, y'all should feel really, I say y'all now. Did you know that? I say y'all.
Really? Do you
Yeah.
have to?
Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry, but sometimes y'all is the only word that fits. It really is.
Rather than taking the time and energy to say you all.
Yeah. You all is too many syllables.
Okay.
And you is just not, it's unclear sometimes what you means, you know?
Right.
You to me, if I'm saying you, I'm talking to you, Nate. But if I say y'all, then it's clear I am speaking to a plurality,
Including me.
And the inference is that I'm speaking to our audience. So
okay, all right. You just keep on saying it, man. It's fine.
Y'all should be feel very privileged that we are in fact releasing an episode this week, because we almost did not today. It was in doubt. Our my recording studio was, and actually is, very much in jeopardy.
Uh-oh.
So this has been kind of an intermittent struggle, really over the course of a few months. And like a few months ago, I think I posted on Instagram or something that we weren't able to record because there was this really nasty smell coming from my office, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. And it was it smelled like freaking burning, rotting fish. And
I can vouch.
and yeah, and it made me it literally triggered a vomit reflex. It was so bad.
Right. And that's when Cowan realized he needed another place to stash the bodies.
Yes, exactly. And then and so it turned out, I thought it was my AC, because apparently there's this weird thing where if your AC, if there's something wrong with the circuitry in your AC, some wires aren't quite connecting, it will start to smell like dead fish. I don't know. That seems
what?
Yeah, that's a thing. It's actually
wow.
some kind of burning plastic or something. So
yikes.
Turns out I was just burning a hole in the ozone layer and not actually stashing dead fish.
Don't worry about that.
But so, and probably inhaling toxins, of course, because you know how healthy, burning plastic is to breathe that in. But apparently, that is a known issue with portable AC units. And it was the summer, so I was running it. So I got the wire. There actually was a wiring issue, and I got that fixed. But I haven't been running my AC. It's freaking November. And I came into my office today, and the place freaking smelled like Joe Biden's pants.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. What the heck?
Smelled like a Long John Silver's massacre.
Oh my gosh. It oh, smelled like my toilet after Taco Bell. It was just it was just it initiated that gag reflex, and I know it's not the AC. I know it's not anything like that. It's I think what it is, unfortunately, is I'm dealing with this office studio was a detached shed from probably literally 50 years ago.
Right.
And I think it's just not holding up against the weather.
You think there's something under the floorboards, man, that you guys didn't account for?
I know there's no floorboards because it's literally just a slab
of concrete.
Yeah, but there could be. I don't know what's going on, but there could
I'm
be
wondering if something. I'm wondering if something crawled into the wall and got trapped.
That's possible. Although, I actually, this thing didn't even have walls. It had no insulation. I mean,
okay,
it had the outer walls.
I was gonna say you built it, so you know exactly what could or probably couldn't get in there.
It had no insulation, and so I don't know how anything. I installed the installation, so that's probably why. Because
Yeah.
I am not the
Yeah,
person
but you
anyone would hire to
but to be
build
fair,
things.
when you were building it, you probably also didn't think that, or you probably thought that it was spider proof as well. So you just never know. You just never know
Well,
what could make your
that
way in there.
I was never thinking spider proof.
Okay.
I
But
was
rodent.
I
Rodent.
expecting a
Yeah.
giant pregnant spider to walk in while we were podcasting a previous
No.
episode? No. No, I was
No.
not. But I never expected it to be completely sealed off from those kinds of pests. But yeah, I wasn't I was thinking it was at least like rodent proof. I wasn't expecting a mouse
Right.
to come in to the wall and die. But
Straight up vermin.
I don't know what else that smell could be at this point, and I don't know where it's coming from. And the worst part is, here's the worst part is it's not constant. It's intermittent, which is if you've ever tried to troubleshoot anything or like gone to a mechanic or anything, intermittent issues are the worst.
Yep.
Because if you can't get it to happen again, you can't fix it. You can only fix what you can actually like
And you
witness
look like
or
an idiot.
you look like an idiot. And then you can even think you fixed it like I did. And then it freaking comes back. Maybe it's like not just a dead rodent, but like a ghost dead rodent that like comes
Ooh,
back to haunt me.
that's true. Like a rodent phantasm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
Either that or, the weather, which I think you might be onto something, like
Yeah.
when it rains or something.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Probably more possible than a rodent phantasm, but you never know. We'll keep our options open.
But I tell you, being a homeowner has really forced me to up my skills. Because not only did I didn't build this office by myself. I had help from much more experienced people.
Mhm.
But I did that, and now I'm finding myself having to fix things. I had to fix some wiring, and because I'm a licensed to do that.
Right, you got your electrician license there.
I didn't say what kind of wiring. It was just some dead wires that I put together.
Right.
And I only lost a couple fingers in the electrical outlets.
I think that's worth it.
Yeah, I think so. You live and learn.
It's an understandable sacrifice.
I think and the other day, like I had, I'm definitely learning to fix things. So like the other day, I had a smoke detector that was going off, and like literally, you're supposed to be able to push that button and it silences it.
Yes.
And it didn't. So I'm like, well, crap, this thing is like defective, and so I'm like trying everything I can to fix it, and I can't. I'm trying to even I can't even get the battery out of it for some reason. It's just like stuck. I can't like twist it off to get the battery. And meanwhile, it's just doing that constant smoking alarm thing. But I was really proud of myself. I came up with a solution involving my toolkit, and so I was able to take it. I took it out of the house so that the noise wouldn't be there. And then I grabbed my toolkit and I smashed it with a hammer. So, and that fixed it.
Bravo. Yeah, that was great when I was over the other day. And
Yeah.
I went out on the back porch and I just saw this smoke alarm with a big hole in the middle of it. And I figured, yep, it's got Cowan written all over it.
That looks like the way Chris would fix things.
That looks like his work, his good work.
That's his handiwork. You can see, every artist leaves their trademark on their handiwork. Yeah. And for me, a big smashed hole.
Right.
So I know that. I know that work. That's that is a true master leaving his mark.
You're the Banksy of home alarms.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyways, all right. Well, let's kick things off then.
Check your privilege.
All right. This is the first segment. We just like to kind of do a detox. As two heterosexual cisgender white males, we have just lots and lots of privilege, and it's it behooves us. It behooves us to. Suddenly, I regret my no post-production editing mandate. It behooves
keep
us
going.
to confess our privilege.
That's right.
We should feel guilty about it and acknowledge it, and then just continue to feel bad about it because there is no redemption for us. Let's see who kicked things off last time. I think it was you. I'll kick things off this time. So
go for it.
All right. So I bought my son weed. All right, your turn, Nate.
My turn. Okay. Yeah. Certainly don't have any questions after that.
No follow-up questions. No follow-up questions.
That is airtight.
Yeah. So
please elaborate.
In the great state of California, marijuana is legal for, well, really for anything, but medical use included. And so I, as I've mentioned in the past, my son Hunter, total sweetheart, has special needs. He's severely disabled, and so we've been looking recently into new treatment for him. And recently, we are trying some cannabis-related solutions, and so we're still kind of seeing how that goes. But of course, that means I get to buy my son weed. And
yeah.
And it is such an interesting, like the experience isn't that like anything to write home about, but just the fact that I can do it and the fact that it has been so controversial, like blows my freaking mind.
Yeah.
Because like, especially like stuff like CBD, the fact that like CBD was like not widely allowed, and there's like no like psychedelic effects or whatever, like but even like the stuff I have has so a minute amount of like the THC, which is the more kind of like, ooh, that'll get you high kind of thing. It's such a minute amount that it's inconsequential. Like you'll get higher off of NyQuil, hands down. And it cracks me up that this was such a controversial thing to make it, like even to make it legal for medicinal purposes blows my mind that weed was like, yeah, I mean, the fact that you can get prescribed hardcore addictive narcotics, but then weed was somehow just like, ooh, that's scary.
Right.
Real scary. Like, it's one of those things where I'm just like, just let people do the drugs. Come on.
Just let you do you.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of the fact that people would get like arrested for it and like sentenced for years.
Yeah.
And there are people like, I think, still in prison because of weed related charges is like really mind blowing to me. When I can like, and this is where like sometimes like, yes, this show is very like tongue in cheek and satirical and all that stuff, but sometimes there is like a little bit of like real privilege check to it, and it is kind of bizarre that like I can just go and like get my son some CBD and THC for medical purposes. And meanwhile, there were tons of people not that long ago who would be arrested for it. Is kind of, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, they were
really
trying to
think, doesn't it?
They were. This is a thinking segment. That's what our aim is. Typically,
a very rare, commodity on this show. So,
well, to be
treasure
fair,
it while you can.
to be fair, in the past, I think a lot of those measures were just designed to control the national Oreo supply.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because otherwise, they'd sell out like hotcakes. It's just, so, now it's a lot easier to get a hold of pretty much anything, because people, the thing is, after the past couple years that we've all had as a world, I think the control on the marijuana is probably the least of our concerns at this point. I think it kind of opened everyone's eyes to just be like, okay, there's this probably isn't the worst thing that we could put regulations on.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I forget which comedian it was. It might have been Louis C.K. or something, but or Bill Burr, I don't know. But it was basically, he was making the argument, I think once you reach like over 70, there should just be no regulations on like psychedelic drugs. Just like let them do heroin, cocaine, whatever you want. They're gonna be dying soon anyway.
There you go.
Just let them go crazy, enjoy it, whatever. Whatever. Like, what's the harm that's gonna come from just letting seniors?
Right. Well, yeah, and when they get to a certain age and they start getting more frail anyway, then they really aren't going to hurt anybody but themselves at that point. Exactly. So it's like,
let those 80-year-olds do the bath salts. Yeah, who cares?
Like, they're not going to be like running cartels, and stuff like that. Let's let them do their thing for the short amount of time they have left.
I don't know. I've heard stories about those retirement centers. I've heard stories about those. Those single octogenarians, they start swinging.
They start living life.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, I'm gonna die any moment. I know what I want to be doing when when I'm going.
I've been a widow for 5 years. It's time to get busy.
Yeah, so I think it would lighten things up, because you know how you go to some of those retirement centers and they're just a little like, I don't know, just kind of a little downer. Like, let them have the upper. Yeah. Like,
give everyone pills and prophylactics and just have them go to Tim.
Just give them all Viagra and bath salts and just see what happens.
I mean, you might wipe out half the population in a weekend at one of those homes, but man, you'll know that they went out just having the time of their life.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good idea. Honestly, like, I feel like, hey, if we're going to, be like my body, my choice, I think that starts with freaking drugs. Like, let people do drugs. Like, if it's like, if I think,
I would argue against some of the hallucinogenics that make criminals feel like Superman. That's like, if we could take maybe PCP off that list.
I don't know. Just, I would say just responsible use of PCP.
Okay. So you want felons running from the cops feeling like they're Iron Man? Is that or running at the cops rather?
No, I said responsible. Use responsibly.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Maybe tie yourself to a chair or something before you use it. I don't know.
I'm just saying, there are some that are much more, somebody's able to take personal responsibility for it. There are others that you never know what you're going to do if you get going on it. So you mentioned bath salts. I'm pretty sure doesn't that turn people into like zombies or something?
Yeah, like freaking cannibals. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's good. Hey, but let them be them.
You gotta thin out the herd a little bit. There's some survival of the fittest element there.
There you go. Let's create our own artificial apocalypse. Just
we could just make the rule. If you're gonna do bath salts, and go like cannibalize someone, just just aim for the
always headshots.
Yeah.
Headshots for days.
I don't know.
Oh man.
So anyway, how about you?
Dude, that privilege check went so many different ways. I love it.
Yes.
So, so since we recorded last, I think I had the privilege of going on a men's retreat.
Nice.
For my church.
Real men don't retreat; they advance.
That's
So
deep.
maybe you should go on a men's advance
That's
next
deep.
time.
Maybe you should make that
Instead
the
of one of
slogan
those
for next year. You weirdo.
namby-pamby. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we just went into the mountains to talk about our feelings, Chris.
Yeah, just talk about your feelings and cry and
that's right.
wear dresses.
No, so we went to the men's retreat for the weekend. And it was very nice. It was a great message, great speaker and everything. And the the worship, the worship, God love them. They were, they were trying. First off, it was a worship band that they sounded great. That wasn't the issue. I knew what I was kind of in store for when I walked into that Friday evening, when you're going to have your first kind of worship and message and everything, and there was a table with albums on it.
Oh no. I'm sorry, what are we worshiping again?
Yeah, so the guy that was leading it, I don't know if he was a solo artist and these were just guys that were just kind of accompanying him this time, or if they were just like an actual band. But yeah, no, he had the full-on table with some merch and some album stuff. I don't know if that was part of the agreement to get him to play all weekend. So I think we maybe learned. Oh, I know for a fact we were asked to learn one just because of the worship schedule. We were asked to learn one of his hit songs I shouldn't say hit songs. One of these songs on his album, because we sang it multiple times that weekend. And so that was always fun.
Nothing says I want to worship the Lord like aggressive self-promoing your own
aggressive
song.
self-promoting. But no, let me ask you this, because you have led worship in the past for many different occasions. I think right? I mean, you've led like for previous churches and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's this thing.
And for you listeners, if you want to buy my album, it's up on iTunes now. And
that's right. Go to stunningandbrave.net. Cowan's going to put up links to his latest and greatest.
And you can hear my hit song, I Raise My Hands Up, Oh Lord, we will proclaim. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Praise the THC.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of them? No. So let me ask you this, because I'm not trying to be rude. I had to word this very carefully to the buddy that I went on this trip with.
Right.
Because we were talking about, hey, the speaker was great, and everything, and we got to the worship. And so there's this thing, when worship songs, when people are really feeling it, like in church, and you finish what would normally be the standard length of the song, the worship leader goes into the chorus one more time, just, and I don't know if there's like a musical term for that, but they kind of tack on to the end of the song, like by starting the chorus one more time. Just it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, all right, it's either pre-planned, or if everybody's just feeling it and and then they kind of just make it last,
ramp up again.
Ramp. They start, yes, and that's exactly right.
Or they just get stuck in some kind of Groundhog's Day like micro time loop that they can't escape.
Thank you. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Let's say each worship session of music was about, I want to say, like a half an hour, somewhere in there. and then you've got like 4 times that we all met throughout the week. So you're talking like 2 hours of music. Let's just say, give or take. Okay, I'm just doing the mental math here, and I want to say that we didn't sing more than 5 songs
in
like the
2
whole
hours?
weekend.
No.
In the 2 hours of combined time.
Right. Well, because he kept using the same songs over and over again.
We kept doing the same songs over and over again, essentially, each time we visited. And dude, when I say that, they started doing the repeats, or you put it beautifully, the ramp ups, basically, like where you start.
Yeah,
dude, I'm not like every song. They did like the Led Zeppelin version, 8-minute version of these worship songs, and so you'd think that the song is over, and then they'd start it again, like when the song just starts to ramp up, where they'd start the chorus. And dude, they would do that 2 or 3 times at the end of the song. And I was thinking to myself, because I knew I was like, I know Cowan's led worship. He's like, there's gotta be some point where you're just like, no, we had a second go round on the chorus. We're not going to go 2 more times. But sure enough, like these songs that were normally meant to be like, 3.5, 4 minutes or something, would stretch out to like 8 or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And like I said, for somebody that is just like totally feeling it, totally in the spirit, and they're just singing it over and over and over again. But I'm telling you, man, if I hear Reckless Love one more time, anytime soon, I'm gonna lose my mind.
God.
We sang Reckless Love like 5 freaking times that weekend, each time like an 8-minute version. And I just, and it's like,
Reckless
I don't want to
Love is almost as controversial as Sloppy Wet Kiss. Not as controversial.
Okay, explain.
Well, because there are certain people who feel that using the term reckless to describe God's love is heresy.
Okay. See, there you
reckless
go.
Implies like lack of wisdom and just like being reckless, irresponsible.
Right.
I
totally
irresponsible.
I see
love.
that.
Which I don't know. I don't care too much about it, but
sure,
I would say it is reckless to play that song 5 times at a freaking in one weekend. That's insane.
Yeah. So, anyway, so this worship leader, man, he just believed in that song apparently very, very strongly. And, it's just,
reckless love.
Yeah. When you realize that this is what the weekend's going to be like on the Friday night, you're just like, all right, we're in this for the message. We're in this for the speaker, and the worship will just have to, we'll have to try again next time. Again, you feel bad for having that opinion.
I have opinions on worship music. I have opinions on it, and
I figured you would.
I'm trying not to step on too many toes, because obviously we have
of course
an audience that really values the. Okay, so where do I begin? First of all, worship is not synonymous, and is not synonymous with music, and that is like a huge pet peeve of mine. Is just like there's most people who identify as worship leaders are music directors. They're not necessarily worship leaders, because worship is really like the music that you sing on your Sunday mornings that's praise music. That's like, and not that it can't be worship, but it's not really what worship is in a nutshell. Worship is really how you live your life, and like there's sacrifice implied in the term worship, and it's really more about how you're living your life and what you're doing, to serve God.
Sure.
Whereas music is more just like a verbal expression, or even like a commitment to do that later, like do that outside of that song. So
gotcha.
so so that's like first pet peeve right off the bat, is I just like, to me, like I've come to accept that is like, it's become the way that word is used and whatever.
Right.
But like
Right.
that's my first thing. This and so much of like worship music is really about yourself and about like affecting your mood, and like, ooh, that song, a lot of people, I think, associate, oh, that song made me feel a certain way, and really it's like, and they associate that with like, oh, the spirit really, I felt really connected to God, and often it's
Yeah.
really like, no, you felt really emotional because that song is specifically designed to make you feel emotional. It's got those crescendos, and like that's what music is designed to do. And
Yeah.
and you repeat that chorus, and then you like kind of dip it down, and then you ramp it back up, because that is an emotionally manipulative practice. And I'm not even saying that that's wrong, that like your praise music shouldn't like have an emotional aspect to that, but I think it's important that we understand like why, like, that is not what worship is. And it, even though it might be conducive to an emotional connection with God, we shouldn't like just mistake that emotional high for it. That does not necessarily mean that you are like more connected with God just because you're feeling more emotional. So that's my second pet peeve. Um, and just like so much of it feels so like like so much of worship music is really about the people, and like not even about God, or not even about like anything really concrete. And that's why I love hymns, because there's so much like, I don't know, meat and potatoes in that. And
Interesting.
as opposed to a lot of contemporary songs are really just kind of like you said, kind of like you're repeating a lot. And that's cool if it's like, maybe you're repeating some kind of like important truth about God. But a lot of times it's just like, and we will rise up, 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 and we will feel good, and we will feel good, and it's just a meaningless
Right.
chant that
Yeah.
like has no actual benefit to you, and has no
Yeah.
actual worshipfulness to
But
God,
but the
and
music swells, Cowan. It
but the
swells.
music swells, so it's God. Um, and so that's why like my thing is like, if you're not like actually leading the people to like, worship in their actions outside of church, then I don't know if that really qualifies as worship leader, so much as just like your music director. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I
Boom.
don't know. I just feel like there's to me, like the whole, and that was actually a challenge for me when I was leading worship, was there's so much like of that kind of probably way overthinking all this crap, like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I'm like wanting to analyze it and wanting to just be like, I don't want to be about all this crap. I want to just like call it what it is, and do that, and not be emotionally manipulative, and not try to like if you like, I don't like, if you're swept up in the moment and you want to repeat the chorus a couple times, whatever, but like it's just like, just call it what it is. Like it's just like, hey, it's a great song. It's, make it, it's groovy, it's flowing, whatever. It's like,
Right.
it's like Led Zeppelin is a perfect example. Like, all that non-worship music like has an emotional impact. But we don't think that like, if we're emotionally impacted by Led Zeppelin and, Stairway to Heaven, that, oh, I'm just really, closer to God somehow because this Led Zeppelin song is,
That's right.
although I don't know, Stairway to Heaven, basically a worship song right there, so
Right? How can you not call it that?
how can you not? And she's climbing a stairway to heaven. Um, but anyway, so that's kind of my
Very
rant.
interesting.
I don't even know where I was I don't even know if I like addressed whatever it was, but
that's okay, because
okay,
we're all better people.
Here's the
it's
real
all about
thing.
the journey.
If worship is in your job description, that means you're supposed to be like pointing people to God. And if you're using it as an opportunity to promote yourself and your worship song that you wrote and on your album, and if you're using it as just like a stepping stone, then don't call yourself a worship leader. That's my
there you go.
There you go. All right.
Music leader only.
Call yourself a music leader. Call yourself a concert like I'm
just waiting for Cowan to go up to some guy who's leading music in church, smack the guitar out of his hands, and be like, "This isn't worship."
Yeah, this isn't worship. No, see, I wouldn't do that, but I will. I'm just saying, like I said, I accept that that's part of now. That's just part of the common language or whatever. But it is one of those things where I'm like, I like to just like at least think about the word choices we're making and what we actually mean when we say certain things and what we're associating it with. And
there you go.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's I don't even have do I have a weekly rant? Anything? I need some kind of stinger for going.
You might need a little jingle for that
rant, but I don't. So let's just move on.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
All right, I want to take a moment to tell you about Geek Devotions. How apropos is that we got all religious on this episode, and here we are. Maybe that kind of sparked the mood. Maybe we just kind of, you're feeling moved now, and you're just like, you know what? I really need to get into some regular devotion, some regular, Jesus talk. And but I'm also a geek, and I just want, I don't want that Our Daily Bread crap that's all like poetry and mushiness. I want something related to like Marvel movies or something like that. Well, just you wait. Just you listen to this. I got to tell you about Geek Devotions. It is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. Geek Devotions produces a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast, Com Talk, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
The Social Net Jerk.
Oh! All right. This is the part of the show where we peruse the internet for people acting a fool, and boy, did they deliver.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, we've got some juicy stuff here, so I'm gonna probably we'll just try to move quickly through the first couple parts of this segment. So the first one, Chris Pratt, he's a great guy. He's Emmett from Lego Movie. He's
Andy from Parks
and Rec. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in Jurassic World. He's just in everywhere. And he's also we're really going full Christian this week. He's a Christian. And tends to lean conservative. He's not like super outspoken, in terms of any like extreme
sort of political position.
Yeah, he doesn't get super right wingy like Trump loving about anything, but he just he kind of leans towards freedom and that kind of thing. Which is so conservative. Can you believe that? Anyway, so he was married to Anna Faris, and really just broke my heart when they got divorced, because they were basically my two celebrity crushes, Anna Faris and Chris Pratt. And so,
Oh,
if they can't make it, I don't know if there's hope for anyone.
then we're all doomed.
Yeah, but not even kidding. Anna Faris, she's like hot and funny. Like, what else do you
Yeah.
need? Nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they had a son together. And then he got remarried, married Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. And they're, living life. And so he just posted on Instagram just kind of a goofy wife appreciation post. It's a picture of him and his wife. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said, she's given me an amazing life, a gorgeous, healthy daughter. She chews so loudly that sometimes I put in my earbuds to drown it out, but that's love. And just kind of it's, maybe a little cutesy, whatever, but it's just a sweet little wife appreciation post for his wife. And for some reason, everybody is butthurt about it because of the part where he appreciates that he has a gorgeous, healthy daughter from her. And I guess the reason is he has a son from his previous marriage, and he was medically fragile. He's had some health issues when he was born. And so somehow the fact that he appreciates his daughter is seen as a direct attack on his son, as if you can't ever be happy for the health of health of one person without it being a direct attack
Right.
on someone else. And literally, like,
Wow.
so many people bent out of shape and in an outrage and like calling him just like all these evil, bigot things. And then of course piling on the fact that he's conservative and goes to, a church and has beliefs they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting all that. It's, a clear case of you don't like someone, so you're going to look for things you hate in anything they say.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mentioned I have a son with severe disabilities. I mentioned that earlier on the show. And to me, that is just like the most twisted mindset you can possibly have, is this idea that you can't appreciate, like I have one son who's disabled and I have two kids who are not. And it's like, we talk all the time, like Mason's a freaking genius. Like I can't
Mm-hmm.
talk about how things I admire in one son without it being a direct attack on another. Like it's so freaking psychotic to look at the world that way. And ultimately what that means is you can't be thankful for anything, because there's
No, you
going to be
can't.
someone who doesn't have that thing. So being thankful for that thing means that it's clearly a direct attack on someone else. There's no possible other way of interpreting it.
That's ridiculous, man.
So good on Chris Pratt for dealing with all that crap. Oh, he's got
seriously
more money than God, so he
that helps.
I'm not gonna lose any sleep over the people. People are always trying to cancel everybody. That's how it goes. This next one. Do you want to try describing this one, or?
Okay, yeah. So it's a picture of this guy, zoomed very up close. He's missing, I want to say, at least one or two teeth in the front there. Yeah. And I'm trying to describe the face he's making in this. If it could be a sound, it would just be like, like when your friend tells like what you think is a cheesy joke or a bad joke or something, you go, like that's this sound. That's what this guy is doing with his face.
Yeah.
And so at the
clearly
top,
intended to look like an idiot, probably like
just
rednecky, kind of just like
redneck. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the top at the top of the picture, it says, "Let's go, Brandon," and the bottom it says, "A ridiculous phrase echoed by MAGA parrots after they misunderstood something said at a NASCAR race.
Right.
Oh, wow. Where to begin?
Yeah. So I saw this. Somebody actually posted this sincerely as like, oh, making fun of people who say, let's go, Brandon. I just love that idea that it's a ridiculous phrase echoed by MAGA parrots after they misunderstood something said at a NASCAR race. Yes.
Right.
The people who have been chanting F Joe Biden across the country misunderstood their own phrase.
Yep.
It wasn't a, news reporter girl trying to like gloss over it for the sake of live TV. It was
I'm pretty sure we could go to the videotape and play it if we weren't concerned about that type of language on our podcast.
That is some severe cognitive dissonance to like think that anyone who was shouting that phrase misunderstood themselves or whatever. I don't even understand. I can't even wrap my mind around that logic. It makes no sense. Like the cognitive dissonance, it's just like, we get it. Let's go, Brandon is like triggering for you. Just, I guess. Yeah.
Just move along.
And it's not just, Trump fans who are shouting that. It is pretty much the entire country based on freaking Biden's 38% approval rating right now. It's like it is dropped lower than his diapers.
All right, at least you said diapers.
And those have been sagging. Oh, I see where you were going to go with that. Anyway, all right, moving on to this juicy gem. This was real. This happened.
Yep.
All right, so I'll just set the stage, and then we can kind of decide where we want to go with this.
Please.
So driving home from I was just in Florida recently, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but hey, that's kind of appropriate that's this week's topic. What
it's weird how that lined up.
I think the spirit was really leading the wheel of problematic this week. So I posted a selfie of myself and my son on the plane as we're flying back to back home from Florida. And I just, it's just a cute photo of him just kind of asleep, resting his head on my shoulder.
It's adorable.
And there's a funny quote from him that makes me feel old. And, we're both wearing our masks as is required on an airplane. And apparently, like my mask, like mine, I have a pretty like generously sized nose. And, sometimes keeping a mask over it is tough. And like just the tip of my nose is just like barely poking out from my mask. It's not like anything intentional. It just incidentally is sticking out the top of my mask a little bit. And somebody, and I think we'll call her Karen, to
that's probably good,
to preserve the guilty. She ignores, by the way, the adorable quote from my son.
Right. Ignore the whole purpose of the post.
Yeah, the adorable photo of him, asleep on my shoulder. And her comment is just, here, I want you to do it. I bet you can do a great Karen voice. What's her comment?
Pull up your mask.
Thank you. Okay, so here's where we're at a crossroads. Do we want to just like read it like it's a dialogue? You play Karen and I'll play me, or do we want to like just kind of skim over it?
Good question. What do you think would be the most effective?
I think let's just try reading it like a script.
Okay.
And we can kind of interject some commentary. So,
okay.
She says, "Pull up your mask."
Smiley face.
Smiley face. And so I say, yes, my barely exposed nose, 'cause that's the real risk in a flying sardine can where we're all sharing the same circulated air.
Just a way of teaching your kids that rules apply to everyone. It's important, smiley face. And it's respectful.
That second one had a little bit of an edge to it. You can just feel it.
Oh, just yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm just like, I hate freaking. First of all, I hate this. Like, it's rules apply to everyone. Like, condition your children to be good little subservient, servants of the state.
Condition your children to be terrified like you should be.
Yeah. And so, but then, yeah, just a way of teaching that rules apply to teaching your kids that rules apply to everyone. It's important.
And it's respectful.
Yeah. So should I consider this an open invitation to tell you how to parent your kids as well?
Sure. I'm pretty open because parenting isn't about having an ego. Also,
and racism in 3, 2,
1. Okay. So look, since I'm a newbie, you got to tell me what on earth is YTM3N? You're so down with the lingo. What the heck is that?
White men.
Oh, okay. She can't type that, or Facebook will start the
right.
the flags. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
So spelling white, YT, Y with a T, white,
right,
and men with a 3 instead of an E is a common way when you want to be racist and avoid getting flagged by Facebook's racism algorithm.
Interesting.
You spell it that way when you're about to say something negative about white men.
Let me try this this comment from Karen again then. I'm pretty open because parenting isn't about having an ego. Also, white men never hesitate to spout off their opinion, so I kind of just learned to tune them out. I wear my mask and vaccinate my kids, so I'm pretty confident in my decisions. Smiley face.
Then you should teach your kids not to make racist and sexist generalizations about groups of people. And I'll teach my kids they don't need to cater to someone else's paranoia. Thumbs up.
My concern for my health and safety is paranoia. Really? A global pandemic and thousands of lives lost aren't cause for concern for you? So Christ-like.
I love how people who clearly do not share your beliefs always try to act like they know anything about your beliefs.
Oh, it's the best thing ever.
Continue.
Oh, I didn't know there was a second. Shoot, what the heck? I just see I see a blank page in front of me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, she then, after the so Christ-like comment, then she says, also, here's the clincher. This is the best part.
Yeah.
You can't be racist or sexist against white men.
What?
That's not how that works. You're not a marginalized group, so you can't consider yourself one just because you're being called out on your BS for the first time in recorded history. Right, okay. Sure.
Oh, wow.
First of all, trust me, she is not the first person to call me out on BS. And in fact, she's not a person to call me out on BS because
right.
Nothing I said was BS. It was, yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
So again, I just love that immediately, like, I love that this mindset, this is like a great picture of this mindset. You go directly from obey the state and pull your mask up over your nose for no reason other than virtue signaling, because it has no tangible benefit in a sardine can where you're packed with people for hours circulating the same air. Like, masks might be effective for maybe up to an hour. That's being generous. Maybe. Might have some slight tangible benefits. But after that, there's you're whoever you're getting it.
Yep.
But I just love that this mindset goes straight. It's like have you ever met someone who's like obsessed with, I don't know, superhero comics or like anime, or like literally can't like can't have a conversation without talking about like their favorite like fiction, you know, like can't have a conversation without them talking about Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Yeah.
Like there's people who are just like, this is my thing. I love it to death. I'm just the biggest, you know, Marvel fan. And any conversation we have is going to immediately go to Marvel. That's how these people are, but with racism and sexism. Everything comes back to white men. You cannot have a conversation without them suddenly, you know, screaming, "White men!" And it's insane. The amount of cognitive dissonance here. Like, you can't be racist or sexist against white men. That's not how it works. And it's just like, so I'll read my response. If you redefine racism to only mean what you want it to mean, then it means nothing at all, because racism just means showing prejudice against a race. That's what it means.
Yes.
So it does not matter what that race is, unless you are literally specifically changing the definition to mean, you know, racism only means what I perceive as, you know, against marginalized groups, and therefore cannot apply to white people because I do not personally perceive them as a marginalized group because they hold more power in our particular social structure, unless you go to China or some other non-white predominant place. But we won't talk about that here because that's not convenient to my narrative. I mean, at that point, you might as well just define racism as, you know, prejudice against people who don't, you know, wear fish on their toes on a Tuesday.
Oh man,
in July.
That's me.
Right. Like, I mean, if you're just going to redefine it to, you know, whatever convenient definition suits you at the time, then what you're really doing is is taking away the actual definition of racism, which is a common thing within this kind of woke mentality of like, we're going to redefine these words so that they mean nothing. Women used to mean something. Women's rights used to mean something. But now we've taken away the definition of women, and we have men getting the number one spot in all these women's sports because we've taken away that definition of women to mean nothing. It's the same with racism. If racism can be twisted into this weird thing where you're racist just by being white and nobody can be racist against you if you're white, and you should listen to black voices except for the black voices that agree with the white voices that I don't like and disagree with the white voices that I do like it's just this whole just cluster freak of like meaninglessness. Nothing has any meaning anymore because you're freaking changing the definitions like
all the time.
You know, like it's freaking, you know, not to be cliche, but 1984. And yes, by the way, being concerned for my nose being exposed from a useless cloth mask on a plane that is nowhere near you, Karen, that is paranoia. But she doesn't shut up. She goes on.
I've got it. White people invented racism. Therefore, we can't be victims of racism. Talk to me when you faced any oppression at all. Never. Thanks.
I love this. I love this so much. Like, if I didn't know this person, I know this person, like, in person. I know this person.
Oh, wow.
If so I didn't know her.
This isn't just a casual acquaintance.
No. If I didn't know her, I would think, oh my gosh, you got me. You got me, Karen. You had me going for a second, but I'm on to you. You are hilarious. White people invented racism. Wow. The amount of like mental contortionism would make a Chinese acrobat blush. I mean, that is just insane. As if there's never been anywhere in history that you saw, I don't know, the freaking Japanese act racist against Chinese. But no, that only happened because some white man invented it. And then Japan was like, hey, I like this racist thing. I'm going to borrow that and go rape and pillage China. I'm going to go
borrow that. I'm going to go borrow that thing that was obviously invented by the white man.
Thank you, Johnny McCracker. I don't know what I would have done without you. Oh my gosh.
Well, that has to be the best white man name ever invented.
Yeah.
Good
I love
old
it.
Johnny McCracker.
And let's just say, like, for a second, like, that was true. And, like, no, nobody from Saudi Arabia or whatever ever, like, wandered into Mongolia and, like, experienced any racism.
Right. No land wars in Asia.
Right. Let's say that's, like, at all true, that, like, there was never been any, racism between non-white cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just pretend that's true. Or let's pretend that, like, if you're a white person visiting freaking, like, Thailand, that they're not going to be like, there's a white dude, I'm going to single him out because I'm an Asian officer in power right now, and I know he's probably got some kind of money or something based purely on this color of his skin, and I'm going to, hassle him for a bribe. Let's pretend that doesn't happen. Let's say it's true. White people invented racism, therefore we can't be victims of racism.
Apparently.
That's like saying, oh, hey, look, my people invented the knife. So go ahead and try stabbing me. It won't work because I invented the knife. So I'm invincible to oh my God. Why does that hurt so much? I'm supposed to be invincible to this because my people invented the knife. What? Ow! Ow! That's not real. That can't be a stabbing. We invented the knife. And then, nice. So here's my favorite part, though. So she goes on this tirade about, like, how white people invented racism and, like, just all this stuff. And she is one of those people who is always like, listen to black voices and, like, put your black image, black square up on Instagram for Black Voices Matter Day, and, like, listen to black people and just white people be silent for a bit. Well, I happen to, have a wide spread of diverse friends. Some of them happen to be black. And guess what? Some of my black friends were pretty freaking pissed off at her.
No kidding.
For saying all this crap about racism, like adding all these ridiculous stipulations to what is or isn't racism and who invented it and all that crap.
Oh, and my gosh.
They had a fur piece to say. And that, my friend, is when she blocked me.
Wow.
And
the ultimate defense.
If that does not speak volumes, I think I'm hoping, maybe she listened to some of those black voices, but I'm thinking it's unlikely because usually when people
I think it's very selective in her case.
I think so. When the people who say listen to black voices and be quiet as a white person, all they ever mean is listen to the black voices that I agree with as a lefty,
right?
And not to all of the black conservatives who I disagree with, because they're not fitting into that box that I have put black people in, and therefore they are not. They're not the ones you should listen to. Listen to the black people that I, as a woke white person, tell you should listen to.
Wow.
So,
oh boy. Best of luck, Karen.
Karen, good luck to you and all your hopes and dreams. Oh, and she bragged, I got to throw this out there. She bragged about vaccinating her child, which, I'm not going to lose any sleep over your medical decisions, but studies have shown that the risk of COVID is so low in children that you are, and the risk of vaccination injury, I believe, is very low as well.
Yes.
Nate, you can tell me because you got the stab and you got the jab. And
yep. I did.
I think white people invented vaccinations, so that means
we did. So as far as I knew, I was invincible to any adverse side effects. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the risk of COVID in children is incredibly low. The risk of injury in a vaccine is incredibly low. So either way, your risk is very low. But the risk of COVID is actually lower in children than the vaccine is. You are actually 114 times more likely to die as a child from the vaccine than you are from COVID.
Wow.
And that is a study. I'll see if I can find the link and put it in the show notes in case anyone's curious about it.
In case Karen demanded.
Just to like act like you are doing anyone a favor by getting that vaccine is it's just, I mean, it's all just for show.
It's another form of virtue signaling, dude.
Yeah. Like, freaking out that someone on an airplane thousands of miles away from you has the tip of their nose showing briefly in a selfie. That, was taken hours before it was posted. Yeah. There's you don't actually care about the things you're pretending to care about. Because if you did, you would care about, I don't know, the science. You would care about, the reality, the actual risk and how freaking low it is. And if you really think the risk is that high, wear a freaking bubble hazmat suit everywhere you go because the world is going to destroy you.
Boom.
Ugh, that's problematic.
All right, everybody. As we determined at the beginning of this episode this week, Florida is problematic. And let's be honest, Florida's problematic every week.
Oh, yeah.
Who we kidding? It's
Florida. I mean, come on. It's a given.
Yeah. And I just, as I mentioned, I just came back from a research trip to Florida to find out how problematic it is. And I can assure you, it's still very problematic.
Pretty bad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'll get to it. Remind me at the end to get to it. I'll let our listeners talk about it first, but I'll tell you exactly how problematic they are. It's so problematic. They're just not paying attention to the news. Okay, so what we like to do is we have a think tank known as the Stunning and Brave Autonomous Zone, or SBAZ. And we like to put it out there to that think tank. If you're not part of the Stunning and Brave Autonomous Zone, find us on Facebook and request to join. And we would love to have you be part of our community. And you can participate. It's awesome. We share Facebook police or social net jerk content and talk about what's problematic. So I posed the question in our Facebook group. I also put it out there on notthebee.com. If you are part of the social network feature of notthebee.com, a lot of people think of it as just this awesome news site, but it is also awesome social network. And you can join that. And I put it out there to them as well. So, Nate, I'll start off with some of the feedback I got from Not the Bee.
Yeah, please do.
And then you can read a couple of the comments. I kind of put this out there last minute, so we didn't get a lot of fodder, but that's fine. I think Florida kind of speaks for itself anyway. So what's problematic about Florida? I Love Woodstock from Not the Beast says, you mean beside the fact that it's shaped like part of a male's anatomy? Ooh. I wonder which part of a male's anatomy they're talking about there. I don't really...
The earlobe, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. That's probably it. Honestly, are they talking about a penis? Because I feel like... If your penis looks like Florida, please see a doctor.
Yeah, you need to really go to see your physician as quickly as possible.
It does not look like any penis that should exist. I just have to say. Nobody from Not the Bee also says, what's problematic about Florida? Florida man. And for anyone who's been living under a rock, search any headline for Florida man and just search your birthday and Florida man on Google, and there will be a hilarious headline about what some random crazy Florida man did on that particular date, because there is something for every day of the year. And
yep. I love it.
Nate, all right, you got one?
Yeah, Jeremy says they stopped building new Disney parks and have yet to build one in Walt's hometown in Kansas City. For shame, Kansas City.
Sounds kind of like a pet peeve against, I don't know, Disney or Kansas City more than Florida.
Yeah, well, I think he's associating, Florida with Disney.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. They built an entire Star Wars universe and are building like a freaking Star Wars themed.
It's not good enough.
Hotel. That's not enough for you, Jeremy.
It's not enough for Jeremy.
You have like the entire galaxy, and that's not enough.
No,
whatever, bro. Neo Hillbilly from Not the Bee makes a good point. What's not problematic about Florida? Excellent point.
Excellent counter.
And Faith from Not the Bee says mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are problematic all year long.
Freaking hate mosquitoes.
Yes. What you got?
Let's see. Dane says, bro, they're surrounded by water. And then I think he tries to go into like a Trump sort of impression here, but it's he says we're going to have the absolute best, most magnificent and huge southern border wall when you would ruin those beautiful beaches. So I think he had a little typo error, but anyway, he's basically saying you can't put up a wall there because you're going to ruin those beaches.
I'm so surprised nobody mentioned the gators or anything.
Dude, I was going to say, man, I've seen way too many YouTube videos of like ridiculously sized gators, like the size of freaking motorcycles walking over golf courses, and that enough, like as if I didn't have other reasons not to go visit Florida or live in Florida. That right there, if I knew nothing else about Florida, that would be like, nope, no thanks.
No, I'm good. Yeah, we were
any place where an alligator can come out of your toilet, that's just instant disqualification in my mind.
Right. We were actually going to go to like an alligator farm, but it was like way overpriced. And I'm like, freaking, why are you charging so much for alligators in Florida? Like you trip over an alligator like between your bedroom and the bathroom. Like
right.
It makes no sense.
People can encounter them in their own backyards. They don't need to pay exorbitant dollars. It's for the tourists.
We went to a restaurant and they had like alligators on display that like in some kind of tank at the restaurant. Like, I don't need to pay $50 to some alligator farm.
Yeah. I can understand if they had an overpriced alligator farm in South Dakota, but not in Florida.
Right. I'd pay good money for an alligator farm in South Dakota, but like in Florida, like when they say alligator farm, it's because they freaking grow on trees. It's ridiculous.
They're literally just hanging from trees. You can just pick them off and take them home as a pet.
Yeah. That's like, but Florida's absolutely problematic because they did not get the memo that COVID is something they need to freak out about. They did not get the memo that COVID is supposed to be like a major issue because they've been leading the states, even though they've had their stupid no mask mandates and all that.
Right.
They've been leading the states in recovery rates. And like hospitals are like emptying of COVID cases like for the first time in more than a year. And so Florida really is not clearly not following the science like the rest of the country is. And so bad on you, Florida, with your excellent recovery rates, even though you're not taking the scientific precautionary measures. It just
don't tell Karen.
How dare you defy science? It makes no sense. But I don't know. It'll probably come back now that my nose wasn't covered on one flight. So
yeah, I was gonna say, well, here comes the third wave.
It's safe to say we're definitely all doomed. So anyway, we are out of time, way out of time for this episode. Thank you so much for for sticking through all this juicy, delicious content. This is what happens. Like we miss a week or two, and I know you miss us, but we come back with just passion and rage, like coming home from the war.
What?
I don't know.
No, I wanted to see where you were going with it, and then it's just like,
I don't know.
Now I'm just watching the most glorious derailment.
I think it was about to get explicit, so I cut myself off.
It's okay. It's probably for the best. So we gotta pack a lot of stuff in because we've got life. We've got life that we've experienced, and we gotta share. So thanks for hanging in there with all of our talk on Karens and theology and everything under the sun.
Yeah, we really covered a wide smattering, and
we sure did.
We sure did. It's it's one of those things where every episode is a journey, and you never know like where it's gonna take you, and you just gotta kind of just appreciate it. And now we're at that journey's end, and we're crossing that old river to the other side. And thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
If you're not telling everyone about this show, you're probably a potophobe and a Nazi. Don't be a potophobe. Tell your friends and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you subscribe.